I know I've heard you talk a number of times on your podcast. I know you mentioned this in your book as well about the 5 pillars of Christian productivity. What are these, and how should we apply them in our lives, Reagan?
Yeah. So as I've gone through and tried to sort of, well, I was going to say deconstruct, but that's not really a good word these days to use, to sort of tear down the concept of productivity and understand what are the points where a theology comes in that's really the base level principles, these foundational principles. And I've come up with these 5 that I think really change your outlook on productivity. And they all have to do with us and our relationship to God. So the first one is that you belong to God, which I kind of just talked about with the stewardship thing. Your life's not your own. And so that's sort of the origin of our desire to be productive.
Right.
I want to be productive, not because, the world says you want to be productive so you can be rich, so you can be famous, so people will like you. But I want to be productive because it's not my life, because I want to serve the Lord with my life. The second one is that you exist to glorify God. And that's sort of the purpose for our productivity. I'm here to bring God glory. I have a mission in this life. It's not just about my own self-satisfaction. I have a life that's aimed at something that is of ultimate importance. The third one is you were saved to bear fruit for God. So we sort of talked about this. This is the content of productivity. So what is it I'm to be productive in? Bearing fruit. So the world says, be productive in following your dreams. The Bible says be productive in following Christ, doing those things which please him. The fourth one is you have been uniquely gifted by God. And so this is sort of the source of our productivity, the power source, that God has given us all that we need to bear that fruit for him through our connection to him, through our spiritual gifts, through the indwelling spirit, through the church, through all the means of grace. We can't be productive in our own power. And I think that's a huge divergence from the way the world talks about it. It's kind of like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, get your systems all in order, be really disciplined, and that is going to do it. Now, those things are important, but that's ultimately not our power source. We can only be productive in the things that please God by relying on his power. And the fifth and final pillar of Christian productivity is you will give an account to God. And this I see as the ultimate motivation for being productive. It's not about trying to get some temporal success. It's not about being productive for a little while so I can, retire at 35 or something. It's my motivation is I'm going to stand before my Lord. And this is a positive motivation. It's talking about believers that we meet Christ and that judgment unto reward. You look at Matthew 25 and the parable of the talents, and he speaks to the 2 faithful stewards in that parable and says, well done, good and faithful steward. You have been faithful with a little. I will set you over much. Enter the joy of your master. I want that. And that motivates me day after day to, by his power, with understanding of his grace, seated firmly in the gospel, but just striving to live a life that really does honor him, knowing that I'm going to meet him one day face to face, and I want to have lived a life that mattered, that brought him glory.